Hello, everybody. Good evening. Ooh, sorry, I've got pool hair day. It's me, Michelle Sibgood, and this is my husband, Anthony Graham. Ooh, sorry, what's wrong with your hand?
Your ring just went.
Oh, sorry. It's just some crystal love.
Yeah. Tough love.
Tough love. So Anthony helps me every Monday night. For those of you that maybe are joining us for the first time, he helps to just get him in focus too. Are you in focus now? Can I get you unblurred? Anyway, my beautiful hubby helps me every Monday night by just taking the questions for me, keeping an eye on who's asking what and who they want me to channel. If this is your first time here, how it works is we do the personal channeling first, the first half of the session, and first three people with 3 pink cards get to have their questions answered, their personal questions. Please, if that's you, please remember to tell me who you would like me to channel. And if no one's specific, then just let us know as well. And then what your questions are. And then in the second half, I'm going to be, we will see who will come through tonight. I don't have an inkling of who that is right now. And we will let someone come through, someone who's 100% light, love, and truth, a higher dimensional being to come through and speak to us as a human collective. And then we can ask, anybody can ask questions then, as long as it's in relation to what we need to know as humanity about the infiniverse, the multiverse, the universe, our earth, otherworldly creatures, spirit, anything that you're interested in, any spiritual questions or any other questions that pertains to humanity. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So Anthony does not like being on camera, so he's going to be hiding over there, but you will hear his voice when he speaks to you. Okay, thanks, Lara.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Okay, and yeah, if you I feel like I need to just do a little bit of housekeeping quickly and just give you a little bit of an update about what's happening with me. So it's really a time, yeah, if you watched the channeling on the 2nd of January, 2023, where I did the sort of like a prediction for the year, but the predictions are not the regular kinds of predictions. It's more about what lessons we can expect this year as humanity. And this first quarter that we're in, it's all about self-reflection and watching out for being aware of an imbalance in power, whether the imbalance is being the oppressor or being the oppressed. So, and basically, I'm finding myself in this time of self-reflection. I'm finding myself really thinking about my current Earth mission and what I'm doing. And it has become clear to me that my main current mission here on Earth right now is to serve all of humanity and to teach bigger groups of people. So I'm going to be focusing a lot more on doing workshops and starting off my courses. The first one will have to do with managing one's energy, but it will be a lot more than just the workshops that I've given up until this point. It will be a lot more in depth, going into real detail about everything and how it connects with the nature of reality and the nature of our souls. So yeah, I'll be doing a lot more teaching. You might have also noticed that I'm not doing the regular Wednesday and Friday slots, but I'm rather, the other thing that's happening with me is I'm really, really learning to just be a lot more in flow. So the Monday night channeling will definitely still happen. That's not falling away. Channeling is an important part of what I do and part of the education. You know, it's part of being a teacher. And I really do think of myself as a soul coach. You know, I'm a psychic channel and a healer and an artist, and a coach, but I really think of myself as a soul coach in terms of really educating humanity about what's out there, what's going on. And part of how I do that is channeling. So yes, there will be some Mondays which maybe I if I'm not feeling that it's the right night to channel, I won't be doing that. But be assured that when I am here, I'm fully present and I know that it's the right thing in the right time. And I will still be doing channel transmissions and teaching videos, but I'm not necessarily going to do both in 1 week. So it will all depend on what I feel is important for the time. So yes, and I'll also be focusing on my blog a lot more and all of that. So it's all just about teaching and getting information out there. So that's what's happening with me. And I'll also be doing less one-on-one. I'm not going to completely just stop it or anything like that. I will be available to do private channeling for people that are interested. But there will be less time slots available. So yeah, that's it. And if you want to find out more about what I do and what's available, you can go to my website. There's a link down below. And if you find tonight's channeling useful and beneficial to you, and you can and want to contribute, there's a link down below as well for that, a PayPal link. Okay, thank you very, very much. Let's begin. Hello, Wasima. So Wasima is going to be first, and then it's going to be Simone, and then it's going to be Honey. Right, Renate, it will have to be next week for you, if that's okay. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Renate as well. And yeah, thank you for everyone else that's joining us here that's not joining the chat. All right. Okay. Wasima.
Okay, so Wasima would like to find out if her sister Beryl, who passed on 3 years ago today, has a message for her and her kids. Message for her.
Beryl's kids.
Yes.
Okay. Beryl. Wasima, have I connected with Beryl before? I think I have. Okay. Maybe in a private, more of a private capacity. Hey. Oh, I think we did it during the mediumship workshop. Hey, Wasima. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
She says yes.
Okay. Thanks, Wasima. Beryl. Okay, Beryl. All right. I'm also just getting a message from my guides for myself right now, and I'm going to share it. It's not always the type of thing one shares, but I'm going to share it. Just to explain a little bit about how my channeling works. Sorry, Wasima, I'm going to bring her through. She is waiting to speak to you, and she does have a message for you. But I just want to use this as an opportunity to just inform you a little bit, those of you that are listening or will listen in the future. So I'm a conscious channel. I'm not a trance channel. There will come a time where I will be given the go-ahead to do trance channeling, but the time for that's not yet, not now. But there are benefits to being a conscious channel as well, and that is that I remain present, and even though it's more dreamlike than listening to every single word. So sometimes when I'm channeling, I don't remember everything afterwards. So I'm present for it, but then I don't remember the details afterwards because it's not for me. The messages are not for me. But the other reason why it's positive to be a conscious channel is that I sometimes get images. So my clairvoyant ability comes through, and sometimes it's clairaudience as well. So sometimes there's a preference in telepathic communication rather than channeling. And I find that that's mostly the case with mediumship. So when I'm passing on messages from loved ones from beyond, that tends to be more of me telling the person what's going on. So that's what's happening with Beryl right now. So my guides are saying, don't channel anyone that's not 100% light, even if they're good, like really amazing, don't channel them directly. So I'll be paying attention to that from now on. Okay. All right. Beryl, thank you so much for joining us. Lots of love coming from your sister. Okay, her heart is first for her kids, Wasima. But the love came through for you immediately. And your heart for her kids as well. She's so thankful. So that's the one thing she wants to actually say to you, is that she's so thankful, grateful that you're keeping an eye on them, and that you're not just leaving them behind, so to speak, just really taking care of them and kind of taking that role seriously of being there for them. So that's coming through very strongly, because I also sense that at the moment they especially need that. One of them in particular really needs extra support right now, and you've been able to help just by being there, just by being present. Just the fact that he knows someone cares. Sorry, it feels like it's one of the boys. I'm assuming that she's got boys, or at least one boy. It's a young man, maybe. So yeah, there's definitely that. And then for that young man, she's saying that he needs to believe in himself and to stay strong and remember who he is, not to become something else. Don't get confused by external influences and messages and what other people think he should be. So really, really a big just a big overwhelming, kind of like she wants to give him a boost of confidence. She believes in him. And for the other children as well, just letting them all know that she's here. She's not gone, she's here. And that they can talk to her anytime they want to. They just have to speak to her. Even if they do it quiet in their minds, in whichever way they feel comfortable, they can speak to her anytime. And I think on some level they know that. But yeah, so is there a young lady as well? Sorry, Wasima. Okay. Yeah, I sense around. Is there a girl as well? Yeah. Okay. So I'm sensing. Thank you, Wasima. I'm sensing that she's also going through a bit of a confused time, but in a different way than her brother. She's a lot more confident, but she's still masking quite a lot, if I can put it that way. When she's at home, she's a lot more herself, but when she's around her friends and in that kind of, she's at that age where what her friends are doing and saying matters a lot. And so she's quite impressionable in that sense, even though she is confident, but she also can, when she's not feeling confident, she'll mask it, not show that. So she's kind of at a vulnerable age. So just getting that divine feminine energy and divine feminine sort of wisdom, sagely wisdom, is really going to benefit her, and letting her know she can talk to her mom. Her mom will, messages will come through for her, and of course Granny can also pass on messages. So, yeah. So, Wasima, don't doubt yourself. I feel you're very connected to Beryl, and you can definitely tap into what she's saying. Don't doubt yourself, trust yourself, because it can really help them at this stage. Not to overwhelm them with it, but it's just that sense that she is there. And yeah, they can ask you, sorry, I'm saying granny, it's auntie. Sorry, I'm thinking of your grandson is coming up. Sorry, Wasifa, your grandson is coming up. I meant auntie. Um, okay, I need to pay attention to why the little boy is coming up. Oh, he's so gorgeous. He's a real crystal child, isn't he? Just full of life and love and positive energy. Okay, so I know I feel that you do let him be who he is, but there's even almost a stronger urge to let him be almost more, which might seem a bit scary. But it's like he's come here to teach and heal others just by being himself. So it's not like he's doing anything, but just by being himself, he's like radiating this amazing energy. Just let him do it. If he wants to go up to people and do things, just kind of let him do it. Obviously, there's within reason, but just kind of watch him and learn from him. And I'm sure you already are. But pay attention with your higher mind and your spiritual senses. What happens when he reaches out and does like interesting things? Let's call it that. There's this real confidence where he just kind of reaches out, even to other kids maybe. And sometimes it looks like play, but sometimes there's more going on. And I think he's also having a good time with his imaginary friends. And I think that it's important to note, and this is for everybody, that imaginary friends most of the time are not made up. They're real friends. So guides can come through in that way and represent themselves in a way that the child feels comfortable with. So yeah, he's quite an amazing young little boy. Anyway, okay, that's it for you, Asima. Love and healing. That's it, definitely. Very empathic. Agree with you. So I'm struggling to see what Renata wrote. Emotional distress, yeah. Wasima, so the reason the reason your niece is going through a lot of emotional distress is because she's putting a lot of pressure on herself. I get the feeling that she's actually, I don't want to use the word popular because I feel that's not really the right word, not the right fit, but people don't realize how much she puts on herself. So I think she puts a lot of pressure on herself, more than she needs to. Yeah, just leave it at that. You're most welcome, Wasima. Thank you so much. Okay.
Nice. So Simone is next.
Okay.
Simone would like you to channel her guides.
Okay. Any guides, I'm assuming?
Any of her guides, yeah.
Okay.
Guides / guides.
Good sensation. Okay, can I have Simone's guides? Highest, truest, purest guides. Highest frequency, highest vibration, purest intentions. 100% light, love, and truth. Okay, I've got looks like an angel. It's not one that I necessarily know or recognize, but she looks female, or she looks very feminine. She looks like an angel, but perhaps she's not an angel. But yeah, very white kind of peachy robes and hair. Hair is sort of, anyway, I suppose the details doesn't matter. She's telling me the details doesn't matter. I guess she's your guardian angel. Is that right? Guardian angel? Yes. Yes. She's always with you. Okay, I'm going to let her come through. Thank you so much. She's very feminine. I feel like her special abilities or special powers has got something to do with intuition and clarity, especially clarity with the higher senses. Connection. There's a connection with divine feminine. Okay, so that's the second time that's coming through tonight. And a balance. Yeah. Balancing of energies. Okay, maybe that's a message coming through. Hello, everybody. Hello, Anthony, and hello, beautiful Simone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for letting me come through in this way.
Thank you for joining us.
It's so pleasant and amazing to be able to speak to you directly.
Simone's got a question for you.
Hmm.
Okay, so she asked, what do I need to hear or be reminded of right now? I seem to be carrying a harsh element of self-punishment with me. I keep sinking back into toxic, abusive situations and struggling to see beyond that.
My beautiful, dear friend and companion, that is because you are failing to see your self-worth. You're failing to see how amazing you are. And because you are not giving yourself compassion, look how much you're punishing yourself right now, right? Because you're not giving yourself that compassion that you so deserve. That self-compassion and the self-love. Because you're always focusing on the outside and doing for others, as so many light workers do. Just focusing on the others and how you can help and putting your own needs aside. This isn't serving you. You do need to put yourself first. It's not selfish to do that. You can tell people not now. You can tell people you're busy. You don't even have to say why. It's absolutely important that you learn the skill. This is the main lesson that you need to look at right now. So in your self-reflection time, really pay attention to what is coming up. And there's shadow work that needs to be done here. What is coming up right now for you? What shadows are coming up when you're looking in that mirror of self-reflection? And out of those shadows, when you face them and you go through them and you work with them, you're going to rise out of that. You will rise up more complete, more whole, more in love with yourself. And you will be able to set healthier boundaries. But it's impossible to set healthy boundaries if you do not believe that you are worth those boundaries. And that's truly the main thing that you need to learn right now. Please let me know if you want any more clarification or want to ask any other questions relating to this. If you just want to tell me something, that's also okay.
We're just going to wait a few seconds. She says, thank you so much.
You're so, so welcome. Don't forget yourself. I love you lots and lots and lots. Thank
She
you.
says, I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yo, she almost doesn't want to leave. Thank you so much for coming through. I don't know what her name is. Okay, who's next?
Honey. So Honey is just asking for. She just wants to know if the universe has some message for her.
Okay. Honey. Yes, so. Okay, so I'm just going to let Source speak directly to you, Source energy, and perhaps we can just channel Source tonight. I have done transmissions with Source energy before, with Source God, if you like. So I think maybe the collective questions can also be for Source. Does that suit everybody? Would that be good? Because that's what I feel. The universe, Source, it's kind of the same. Yeah.
No, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
People can type questions for Source.
Yeah, so if you guys have your questions you want to ask for the collective, for humanity, anything that you want to know about spirituality or something in spirit, how it works, anything you want to know, you're welcome to type your questions now while I get a message for Honey. Okay. Source consciousness. All is one is all. Okay, let's see. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for listening, responding. Thank you for feeling me. Thank you for all of you who have opened yourselves up to connecting with Source. All that I really am is all of you, everybody and everything in existence. I represent all of that, and I'm within you. Do you have any questions?
Honey would like to know if you have a message for her.
Honey, Honey, you are standing at a precipice. And from your vantage point, it seems really scary. And it's like you have to walk on a tightrope to get to the other end of where you need to get. So it is a very, very scary time, and there's a lot of things happening in your life right now, which is causing you to feel very unbalanced and very unsure of your footing, not feeling stable and not feeling grounded, because you're high up in the sky, high up, and below you, the valley is so far below you, you can't even see it. But this is really twofold. Being high up also means that you are closer, or that you are able to feel the connection with me and your higher self better. So if you were to become calm and still and find the stillness within yourself, you will be able to let go of the fear, or work through the fear, so that you can brave the tightrope, and so that you no longer have to give energy to the fear. So once you're in a place of stillness, you won't feel the need, you won't feel that panic, and you will be able to not give in to the fear, because you've accepted the fear. So it's really about observing the fear, recognizing that it's there, not gaslighting. Okay? You don't want to pretend it's not there and push it away. That's not how you deal with this. How you deal with it is accepting it, embracing it, and stepping up anyway. And getting in a place of stillness will allow you and help you to do that. And as you come into this place of stillness, you will also get much clearer information. Because high up in the sky, the element of air, pure, clean air, that means clarity. And you'll be able to see your goal much better, your goal on the other side, that which you're reaching for, that's which you're working so hard for. Your work is not going unnoticed, and you are almost there. It's closer than you think. And as you get into this place of stillness and you start trusting the universe, as you call it, as you start trusting yourself, the line, you will just all of a sudden notice that you're almost there, that you're much closer, you're not so far away. So the more you give energy into the lower vibrational emotions like fear, the more daunting and further it seems. But the more you just become centered, the better it will be. And also to remember that line, that tightrope is stretching between two cliffs. And the cliffs are earth, strong earth energy. So that line, you can think of it as a conduit. You can stay grounded even in this scary place that you find yourself in your life. And the more grounded you are, the easier it will be to find the stillness. The more grounded you are, the more you can transmute all the negative energies that's coming your way and clear yourself. And the more grounded you are, the more clarity you will have about which directions to go. And you'll be able to rely and feel more comfortable with trusting your intuition. So, yes, please let me know if you have any follow-up questions.
I'm just going to wait a few seconds to see if she comes through.
Thank you. While we are waiting for clarifying questions, I am just doing a light code healing and activation for everybody that is here right now and everybody who will watch this video in the future. Okay, as I said, just allowing you to see yourselves more clearly, see the infiniverse more clearly, and just allowing yourself to become more aware of what's truly going on so that the truth will be revealed. If you want to receive this, you can open your heart, open your mind, and just receive it. If you feel it's not for you at this time, that is perfectly okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hani says thanks so much. She appreciates it.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Honey, for asking your question. And thank you for all of you that have come out and made yourselves vulnerable and asked the questions you need to ask. I'm looking forward to listening to your questions now. Those of you that want to learn more or know more, I'm happy to provide.
Great. We've got our first question. So Mela would like to know, how do our guides and other beings feel about us spending so much time on our phones?
So it's a very good question. And this is because in some ways they feel neglected, if I can put it that way. But the way they experience it is much different to how we as humans would experience that. We would get into certain feelings maybe. They are a lot more patient and understanding of this. But there's also a bit of an urgency with so many people, especially awoken people, that even people that are awoken are spending often too much time on devices. And there's an urgency right now for light workers and people who are working to fulfill their missions and their purposes and really, really get focused on that. So for every person who's not quite focused on that and focused on their healing, their own healing journeys, there's almost, I don't want to, there's almost a deficit in the energy that's needed. So it's like every single person is needed right now to help their neighbor, to help the ones that are not there, that are unawakened, and how the guides feel that are responsible and trying to connect with those people that are not woken up yet. They feel sad. They feel, but they also don't give up. They're patient and they keep trying. And they're going to keep trying and until it gets worse and worse and worse. You all know how this goes. So many of you have experienced the dark night of the soul before you actually opened up and started understanding things. Because sometimes that is what's needed to get someone to wake up. So in terms of humanity and the collective, there's going to be more and more things happening that are going to be severe and hard to witness. Because this is a time when humanity is going to go through a dark night of the soul. It's going to be a time where humanity will have to have a hard look at what has happened and where they are and what they've done to the planet and how they continue to treat each other, how materialistic goods and status and things like that just is so much more important and given so much more energy than the real people in their lives. So there's a definite sadness, but there is no giving up. And for those that are awoken and for anybody else, it's not about beating yourself up here. You do not have to feel guilty for what you have done and what you do sometimes. Have compassion for yourself. But take time every day to get clear on your priority for the day and your main goal, your main purpose. And if you're not clear on your current mission, if you're not clear on your purpose, work on that. If you're having shadow work to do and things that are not quite there yet, work on that. So keep moving forward. There's a time for everything. For some of you, it is a time of just being still and stopping and pausing and listening. In fact, that's what most people need to go through right now. The ones that are aware and awoken, like all of you. If you find yourself struggling to get things finished or to get things going, it's because it's a time to actually just observe. Observe where you've been. Observe what your priorities and your goals and your mission is. And observing the present and seeing if it matches up. So if you are on your phone all the time, you're going to miss that. You're not going to be still. You're going to be busy with that energy, whatever is going on. And you're going to be also picking up on all the energy of everybody else and all their frantic energy because so many people are feeling lost. So this is a time of change, and it's important to just be aware, just to become still and see.
Great, thank you. I've got a two-part question from Tracy. Okay, so is there such a thing as an awakened ego? And then if there is, how can we assist our ego to ascend as we are ascending rather than wanting to stay in that egoic structure?
Yes, there is such a thing as an awakened ego. And you can think of this as you work on. So there is some toxic spirituality out there, some older spirituality, which taught that we do not need the ego and we need to let go of the ego. And it's one of those truths that has been twisted just a tiny little bit, as in so many of the religious teachings, where there's a truth, but it's just twisted just a little bit, so it's not the full picture or the full truth. And yes, you need to let go of those parts in your ego that are fragmented. You need to, but let go is really actually not the right word or the right action to take. It's letting go of what doesn't serve you, and that will serve the ego in a positive sense. But more, it is a sense of embracing your ego, not the negative parts of your ego, but rather on working on healing the fragmented parts. And this is why Michelle really takes a lot of care and has started doing parts work again so much more at the moment, exactly for that reason, because of the fragmented parts of people's egos. The egos are not healthy. So what we truly want, just like you want health for your soul, just like you want a healthy mind, healthy emotional body, healthy physical body, healthy spirit, you also want a healthy ego. And your ego is so connected to this physical realm. So if you start collaborating with your ego, so healing your ego, and really when you're healing yourself, that's happening anyway, but it's really about healing what's happened in your current life as well, not just your past lives and all of those things. Those are really important, but it's also really important to heal all the hurts that your ego has been through and what your ego is attached to. And your ego is the one that's having trouble letting go of all the things. Your ego is the one that habituates negative things. So all those bad habits and things like that, that's all your ego. Your ego gets really attached to things. So it's about teaching your ego to become comfortable with flow. It's about teaching your ego that your ego doesn't have to be in competition with your higher self, and that you're not three different entities, so to speak, even though in a sense it is. You, your higher self, and your ego needs to work together, needs to find the balance, so that when your ego is healthy, it won't be attached to this plane anymore, and your higher self will be able to come in and embody you more fully, and therefore will be able to ascend with you, with your higher self, because it's no longer attached to this realm so much and all the stuff of this realm. It will be comfortable and happy to move on. I hope that makes sense to you.
Great, thank you. I've got a question from Mosina. She's asking, oops. She's asking, why is there so much chaos in this world? As light workers, we are the light and love to shine on this world.
That's right. There's various reasons, and it's very complicated, why there is a lot of chaos. There are simple answers, but the simple answers do not give the full picture of why the chaos is there. But let's start with a simple answer, which is still complicated for those that are perhaps not quite there yet. But for the light workers, you will understand on some level what I mean. And that is that it's kind of like the yin and yang, right? All of existence, all of source energy includes everything. It includes the good and the bad. So this world, which is such a tough school, such a tough earth university, where souls come to learn, it's a tough place to learn. So in order for the souls to, it's almost like the souls that come here to learn, they come here to learn because they want to advance as souls. And it's just like, if you think about marine training, for example, that is an example that I think most people understand, that it's very, very tough. And there's a lot of young people who do not get through marine training and they give up because it's too hard. Just as those who come to this earth school, some have taken their own lives because it was too hard. Not understanding that it's not like marine school or marine boot camp where they can just go and choose another career, right? In this case, they are often stuck in this cycle until they've completed the lesson their soul wants them to complete. And so, in the positive sense, the chaotic stuff is there to help shape souls. However, it does not have to be so harsh, and it doesn't have to be as much suffering, which so many light workers have learned, and that's part of what the light workers are here to teach. And that is why the light workers came. The light workers came here for different reasons. They have different missions, but ultimately it's to advance humanity in some way. Some light workers will only work with certain people. Some light workers will work with animals. Some light workers will work with the earth. The point is that in some respect it's for the betterment of this earth plane. But in order for the light worker to get there, the light worker has to descend from the higher vibrational place that they come from and come into this very, very uncomfortable, dense realm of chaos. And it can often be so traumatic that those light workers get stuck in this cycle and experience a lot of trauma and experience a lot of abuse, often elected because so that they can go through as much human experiences as possible to help the humans that need the healing and the love and the help. So, as I've said, it's very complicated. The other side of it is what is going on in the world that hasn't been revealed, hasn't been disclosed. There's so many leaders on the earth that are keeping things hidden from the public and not telling them the truth. And this is harmful to humanity because knowing the truth, yes, there's the fear from so many of the governments is that there will be panic and confusion. But as we have seen with the awakening process, the more you start understanding about how things work and what is happening, even though it might be scary at first, the more you can start dealing with things and understand what to do and become more centered and start understanding what's priority. And this is needed for the earth. People on earth need to know what's happening, and so much is being kept from people. And they need to know so that they can understand the threats that exist, because that's the other part of the chaos, is that there are a lot of negative energies. And like I said, it's all part of source. But there are a lot of negative energies that have come to experiment. In fact, they created the species of humans, but not only humans. They've created the human species to experiment on them. But again, there's the flip side of the coin, that many souls come here to experience that difficulty so that their souls can advance. So because if the soul is able to crack the code, so to speak, if the soul is able to awaken, if the soul is able to get through the difficulty, then in the incarnation on earth, or whichever incarnation it may be, they can then go on to the next level. Just as all of the people that are awoken is. And they can then help the rest of them. So the more that get awoken, the more we can help everybody to get to the next level. So that is pretty much, that's the simplest way I can explain it to you so that you can understand, because it gets very complicated. So there's time travel involved, there's multiple dimensions involved, there's multiple species and races involved, extraterrestrial, interterrestrial, ancient extraterrestrials. That's actually truly has a lot to do with it. So there's a lot of complicated things, and then there's the bigger picture of the higher entities that are also watching. And that's also why there's so much more help and energies coming from the outside, the good guys, the good extraterrestrials, and the angels, ascended masters. Everybody has got a stake in what's happening on Earth. Everybody is invested in the betterment of humanity, except those that are playing the role of the dark side. Again, that is also their mission. But somewhere it went awry a little bit. So there's a need to balance things out and to get to the next level. So yes, there's a lot of different facets involved. And yeah, you're welcome to ask me about any specifics.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions for anyone else here. So I'll try and ask a question. Okay, so one of the things that are maybe held from the public, by governments, all that kind of stuff, is the fact that the moon is not a natural orbiting rock. So it's created. So my question to you is, within all the woken circles, if you like, a lot of people put a lot of sorry, my words are going. Put a lot of emphasis on the moon and the
energy of the moon.
The energy of the moon, yes, and what it means and all that. So can you explain to us why that still has the effects that it has on people when it's not a natural entity?
That's a good question. Thank you, Anthony. So now remember, Anthony, that all things are made out of energy, even the man-made moon. And when I say man here, I don't mean humanity. So yes, the moon was created and it was put in orbit. You can look at it very clearly if you go look for the evidence. If you research that, you will see that it came towards Earth, that Earth had no moon. The moon came towards Earth and then receded right until the place where satellites, the ideal satellite distance, right? So this is just a little bit of information for those people that are not informed about the true origins of the moon. So now, in the same vein, those people that are responsible, and there's something I forgot to mention, why there's such a big stake, why so many energies are invested in what's happening on Earth. Because if people carry on playing with the things that they're hiding and that they've been warned they shouldn't use, like nuclear weapons, there's been a warning over and over that not to do that. If they continue to do that, they're not only going to destroy this world, they're going to rip space-time, and they're going to cause a chain effect in the other dimensions that's also connected to this Earth realm. So that is something, that is why everybody is so focused on what's going on Earth. They want to make sure that there's a big change happening. And so in terms of the moon, that was also put here by the people who wanted to perform this experiment. And the Earth is alive and a real entity, and she she has natural energy. I mean, you can feel that and sense that when you communicate with her and when you connect to her. But there's also a sense of, if you think about a hybrid or in Earth's case, there's still encoding, there's still programming, right? And Earth is running a program, just like every single human being that are here are running a program. And just like each person's mission or soul mission, you can also think of as a directive, which is something, a command that you give a program. So in that sense, when we break everything down into energy, everything is playing its role and doing what it's meant to do. And in the same way, even though the moon is technology, it is being placed here to manipulate the Earth, because the Earth was wild, much wilder before they placed the moon here. But it was teeming with life. So it was always a biodiverse, amazing place. It was just in the right place. And in fact, to be honest, it was manipulated just a little bit to be placed right in the position by the sun it is. The sun with its exact heat that it has, that has all been manipulated. Okay. But to get the Earth to do and to have more control over the waters on Earth as well, and to be able to put the veil around the Earth to keep people who are in the experiment unaware of the experiment, right? And that is that holograph that everybody keeps talking about, the matrix, as many like to refer to it. It is a code. It is programming. It's a specific program, and people need to be able to crack the program from within, awaken themselves, and with help, and get out of that. So the moon has played a role, even though it is not a natural thing, but a made thing. There is still frequencies and energy and very advanced technology that went into creating the moon. And in fact, many people are aware that there are negative groups, if we want to call them that, living on the moon and inside the moon, in fact. So on the dark side of the moon, because if you look at the moon, those of you that are not aware, the moon doesn't rotate. And that's one of the things that makes it very peculiar as a moon. So the dark side, there are some buildings that can be seen there and some structures, but there is a lot of people working within the moon and living within the moon. But of course, there are also the good guys, if you want to think of them that way, that also have a stake in the moon, and that was really integral. And it was very much, they took a huge they had a huge responsibility in the creation of the moon. So there's two sides of the coin here, and there are different factions that are in control of the moon. In fact, it's kind of a ceasefire region. And most of the societies that live on the moon are actually regular and good beings. And there are even some humans there. But there's one or two factions, and they're connected, that are not so good, but they're allowed to have space on the moon as long as they don't break the rules. So there's rules and there's guidelines that need to be followed. So to get back to, this is also one of those complicated answers and complicated questions. To get back to how it has affected people on Earth, especially with intuition and psychic abilities. The moon has the ability to influence and radiate psionic waves, and therefore can help those that are ready to actually help them attune. So there's actually a frequency. So those that are ready and can bypass or can go beyond, so those people that can channel, go to 5D, that are natural mediums, all the psychic types of people, all the clairs, those people that are aware of the paranormal from a young age, all of those kinds of people, and some will learn it later on. They will get awoken to that later on. All those people have already come in here, and either during the lifetime or from when they get here, can bypass that 3D and 4D matrix, because people are in 4D right now. The majority of the human race are in 4D. Very few people in 3D. It's really now stepping up into 5D, right? And because they're able to bypass that, they're then able to pick up that frequency, which helps them to actually channel that energy. So it's not necessarily a negative device. And in fact, it keeps the tides regular, and it helps with the seasons and all kinds of the rotation of the earth, of course, helps the seasons. But the light of the moon and the light that it's reflecting of the sun, there's all kinds of elements that are connected here. Everybody understands the importance that the moon plays in the earth's energy. But yes, it's all connected, and it's not all bad, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask for one final message before we end tonight's transmission?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking all the questions that you're asking. I'm honored to be here. I really am. And I want you to remember that in spite of whatever you may be learning about the cosmos, the infiniverse, your earth, your inner earth, under the sea, off-world, spirit, all the things that you're learning about, go towards that which interests you, learn about that. But don't forget the bigger picture. Don't forget who you are and what you're meant to do. And don't forget that you within yourself are powerful. If you were not powerful, you wouldn't be able to go beyond that frequency where you can see more of the truth, where you can start actively seeking the truth and understanding it. So don't underestimate your own power, because that is what tips the balancing scales. That is what changes the fact that it could become a disaster. That's what's going to change and flip the scales towards it becoming harmony and unity, where everybody gets awoken. Because those that are in power and have been put in power here on earth, most of them are aware of what's going on in terms of secrets that they're keeping, but many of them are not necessarily aware of the heart-centered way of living, the heart-centered spirituality, the heart-centered energy. A lot of them are utilizing other types of energy. So it's not that they're unaware of psychic and those kinds of things, but their frequency isn't higher vibrational necessarily, if that makes sense. So if you're working on yourself and you're seeking the truth that you are interested in and resonates with you, you are fulfilling your purpose. You are doing what you need to do. If you focus on and becoming acquainted with what your current life mission is and what your soul wants to experience and do right now, it's also going to help further that. So again, do not underestimate your power, and do not underestimate the power of unconditional love. And you can only really reach unconditional love when you get to a place of self-love. And self-love is not narcissistic. It's very humbling, extremely humbling and beautiful. And it's only when you really experience that that you can tap into that unconditional love frequency, which is the most powerful frequency from source. And yes, it has the ability to influence things in a positive way and heal and do everything that is needed to get not only to a better earth and the advancement of humanity, but really help the whole of the infiniverse to step up. The whole of the infiniverse, all the worlds that are connected to this one, it ripples out and affects everything around. It's not just this one blue planet, but this blue planet is representative of other places as well. Do not also forget that this blue planet has a twin. There's an opposite world. And all the planets have opposite, all the worlds, let's rather say, have opposite worlds. And there's always going to be that balance. So everything is interconnected, everything. Don't ever underestimate that. And one person, one soul does make a difference, always.
Great. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm sending out love to all of you, every single one of you, and awakening that fire. Awakening that fire within you so that you can experience your power and feel it and become aware of it. Thank you very much. Ooh. Wow.
No.
Hello. It's a good thing these are recorded. Wow. Oh, I'm struggling to see. Sorry, I'm just having a moment of, let's call it re-entry. Wow, thank you so much, every single one of you that have come on here tonight and that have. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, everybody. Thank you to every single one that comes on here, everyone that supports me and this channel, and just, I feel the unity and I feel we're all connected. We've formed our own. It doesn't matter it's whoever needs to be here for a video, whether they're here in the future or whether they're here now, tonight. You're meant to be here, and it all matters. It all matters, and I can just feel the frequencies just raising as we're all connected, and I almost want to say in one mind. Our focus is all together, and we're bringing more energy to certain topics. So yeah, thank you so much for joining and being part of that, and I appreciate that so much, and I feel every single one of you, and just sending love, light, and truth to all of you, and hoping you have a fantastic week. Yeah, thank you. Is there anything you want to say?
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye. See you next week, everyone.